Thursday. Welcome to YouTube Live. And let's see if we can get this going. Thanks so much for joining me. And so happy that you're here. Let's see if I can get the technology to cooperate tonight. So far, it hasn't been that great. My antivirus is really ticking me off. Okay, let's see if we can get the chat up and see if anyone's on. And here we go. Let's see. Let's see if somebody jumps on, if the chat will just open up or if it's going to be finicky. Okay, let's push this back just a bit. You don't need to see my lap. There we go. Okay. For tonight, we're going to be using the Pick a Season celebration stamp set. This is a free choice with a $60 purchase here in the United States. My name is Teresa Harper, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Sheridan, Oregon. Oh, Tracy, it's just been my internet turned itself off, and it's just things just don't want to work, right? And then my antivirus keeps popping up messages just like crazy. I just keep telling it to go away, and it just keeps coming back. Anyway, I hope your voice is doing better. And look at that. The live chat just opened right up for me with no issues. So yay, something's going well. Okay, so for tonight, I'm going to be using the Meant to Be dies, which coordinate and are bundled with the Meant to Be stamp set. I'll pull that down here out of my stash. If you purchase the stamp set and the dies together, you save 10% off of the combined total price of these two items of what they would be if you purchase them separately. Okay, and then the Pick a Season is free, like I said. So if you were to purchase this bundle and something else small, then you would be able to get the Pick a Season for free. Okay, so let's go ahead and set these aside. We are going to be making a larger size of our hexagon box that we made last week. And this time I'm going to be using some shaded spruce for my cardstock, and we are going to be making a St. Patrick's Day box. That is the beauty of the Pick a Season stamp set. We can do Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, and then we can just do an all occasion with flowers. So this is a very, very versatile stamp set, and everyone should have that in their collection, I think. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And you know what I didn't do was pull out my box templates. So let me do that so I know where to score everything. Should be right up front here with no... Oh, and I put the wrong... I put the wrong box templates in the wrong PDF, I think. I'll have to fix that. Or maybe I didn't and I'm just not recognizing it. Okay, so here we go. Here are our little box templates for tonight. So this is our box top, and this is the box bottom. So we have 2 pieces of shaded spruce cardstock. Each one is 1 3/4 inches wide. I made this box a little bit deeper than the previous box. So Here was last week's box, and this was 1 inch. And I made this one a little bit wider, and it's a little bit bigger. So just so you can see the difference in size, there they are. So we're going to start with a piece of cardstock for the box top that is 1 3/4 by 11. And then our box bottom is 1 3/4 by 10 3/4. Okay. And again, we're going to have funky measurements on this box bottom to make it all fit very nicely. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with our scoring. And let's bring in our score tool, our Simply Scored. And I'm going to start with the box top, and I'm going to move the box bottom out of the way. And let's move that out so I can get this in the picture here. And we're going to take our scoring tool. And on the 11-inch side, we're going to start. And we're going to score this at 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, 7, 8 3/4, and 10 1/2. Okay, so again, 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, 7, 8 3/4, and 10 1/2. Then we're going to rotate this, and we're going to score this at 1 3/8. Okay. Now, you could score this at 3/8 of an inch, but it's just easier if you're on your Simply Scored tool to score it at the 1 3/8 inch mark, because then you're not butting up against the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and on my box bottom, I'm going to go ahead and score this at 1 3/8. And then we're going to bring in our trimmer because we need some 16th inch score marks, and those are not on the Simply Scored tool. Okay, so now we have our box bottom. Let's bring out our arm, which doesn't fit very good in the picture here. And we're going to score this to start with at 1 3/4. Okay, hang on just a second. Got this one like this, and I want this one like this. Okay, I'm putting my small score at the top on the top of my box, and the small score at the bottom on the bottom of my box. Okay, so now we're going to score this. Hang on, I need to move some things out of my way. Okay, there we go. That'll give me a little bit more room here. So we're going to score at 1 3/4, and we're going to do that minus a hair. Now, if you were with me last week, you know that minus a hair means that we're going to go, here's 1 3/4, right here, 1 3/4. This is 1 12/16. We're going to go right between those two marks. Okay, so that's minus a hair for me. It's like a 32nd of an inch. So 1 3/4 minus a hair. And then let's make sure we have the right thing. Then we're going to go 3 7/16. So at 8/16 is 3.5. So we're going to go down to the next skinny mark, and that's 3 7/16. And then we're going to go to 5 1/8. 6 7/8, And then we're going to go minus a hair again. So go between the two marks that are right below 6 and 7/8. And then 8 and 9/16. So we're going to go one little tick mark past 8.5. And then 10 and 5/16. That's one little tick mark past 10 1/4. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put this here for you for a second so you can take a screenshot, or all these measurements will be on my blog on Sunday, and that's KNT Designs by Teresa at blogspot.com. There is a link in the description below. That will be in the description below after this live finishes. Okay, so again, this is my box bottom, and I'm going to start with my box top. And from the meant to be dies, I have taken the middle hexagon. There are 5 of these. I've taken the middle one, and I've cut 2 of these out of shaded spruce. Okay, so we've got 2. And then I cut 2 of the next smaller one out of shaded spruce as well. These are for the inside liners. Okay, so we've got 2 of those, 2 of the middle, 2 of the next size down. And then I've also cut 2 in white of that smaller size. One is for our box top, and the other one is for the box bottom, and I've stamped a sentiment in there. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go ahead and get these together. So we have a technique that we're going to do. Oh, and before we put this all together, we need to do our technique right now. I'm sorry, because it's easier to put these on before we put our box together than it is after. We're going to make our own designer series paper, and it's easier to put the designer series paper on when the box is flat. Okay, so we're going to bring in a piece of basic white, which I forgot to cut. So let's cut that. And we don't need a particularly large piece, just actually I do have one cut. I just had to grab it. Just a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece will work. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to bring in the linked together decorative masks. Okay, this can be purchased in a bundle, and it has a coordinating stamp set and dies, and I didn't pull the dies. We're not using those, but if you purchase the 3 of them together, then of course you save 10% off of the individual piece prices. Okay, so we're going to be using masks 1, 2, and 3. So let me pull those out. There's 5 masks in this set, and we're going to be using 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to be leaving behind 4 and 5. And this is what they look like. They do stack. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and you can kind of see what that would look like. And then here's 4, if you add that, and then 5 if you add that. Okay, I prefer 1, 2, and 3. So that's what we're going to use. Let's get those. Let's get my sticky sheet here. Put this down so it doesn't move. My paper doesn't move. I'm just going to put this right here like this. I think I've done this enough so I know how to make this work. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then we'll take mask number 1. And if I put that on there correctly, this should work out just great for me. Okay, so I'm going to anchor this with some mint tape because I don't want my paper to move here. I don't even know it. How did I get that on there? I don't even know what that is. Some sort of leafy, twiny thing or something. Okay, so I'm going to anchor that down. And then I'm going to take soft seafoam. We're going to be using soft seafoam, shy shamrock, and shaded spruce for this. I'm going to start with soft seafoam. And I'm going to take a blending brush. And I'm going to wipe that off a bit on my glass mat. I'm going to start with my lightest color first. This makes a pretty quick DSP. And of course, you can do this as light or as dark as you like. I'm not looking to go super dark on this. So I'm happy with that. And we can set soft seafoam aside. And we'll move on to shy shamrock, but not before we take off our mask, which I did do the other day when I was doing this. I forgot to take my mask off. So we want to make sure we get that done. Okay, so now we've got that. Now we're going to take number 2, and I'm going to line that up. Okay. You do have notches over here that you can mark and make sure you get that lined up. But I have this where I have it set where it'll just lay right there on my glass mat on the grid. I'm using the grid to keep everything nice and neat. And then I'm going to take my shy shamrock and I'm going to ink that up. I'm using the same brush. This is darker than my soft seafoam, so it's not going to interfere with my color. Okay, let's go back and pull some more of that. Okay. I actually think I'm good with that. I like that, so I'm going to leave it. And then we're going to remove this mask. And pull in mask number 3. Okay. Of course, you can do these in any color combination. I do actually have a sample here. Doing it in reds. So I'll show you that, what that would look like. Okay, now I'm happy with that placement. And you can see your white lines through the mask. Now we're going to take another blending brush and I'm going to take some shaded spruce. And we're going to add that over the top. Okay. And then we'll lift this off and you can see how beautiful the paper that we just made is. Okay. So we've got that. And then I'll just take these to my kitchen sink and set them in my dish drainer, rinse them off with water and set them in my dish drainer when the video is over and let them dry. You can, if you need to use them into another color right away, you can use a baby wipe or, rinse them off and use a towel. Okay, so this is our designer series paper, all finished. Let me put my plastic sheet back on my sticky grid. All right, now let's go ahead and trim this down. I'm going to trim off all the white with my trimmer here. Just my white little edges. And I'm going to be very careful because if I cut this just right, then this is going to work out perfectly for our pieces that we need. So just cut that. It's going to trim all four sides and get rid of the white. Just put that right in the track of my trimmer. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to cut this into 1 1/4 inch strips. I need 2 of them. And this actually, if you cut this into 1 1/4, you end up with 3 1 1/4 inch strips. Okay. So I've got 2. I'm going to set this one aside and I'll use it for another project another day because now I have 2 of those. And then I need to cut these strips at 1 5/8. Okay. So I'm going to cut that down to 1 5/8. And again, 1 5/8. And that will leave me 1 5/8. Okay. So now I'm good. This one is just a tiny bit long today. So let's go ahead and trim that down a little bit more. Just to make that 1 5/8. Usually I end up with it exactly 1 5/8. Okay. So we have that. And then we're going to, again, cut the second strip, 1 5/8. 1 5/8. And this one is just a tiny bit long because I didn't get all the white off. And that's why it's not exactly 1 5/8. Okay. So now we have all of our designer series paper completed. Hello, Laura. Come on. That stencil paper is just gorgeous. I love these stencils. Okay, so now we can add this to our top strip, which should be this one. I'm going to make sure that's 11 inches, and it is. And then I'm just going to take and glue these down. And actually, before I do that, this will help me see my score lines a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish my score lines. Okay. So let's burnish those and get those ready to go. And then we'll trim it up. And then we'll add our DSP. Okay. So to trim this, we're going to take and it's a little bit backwards for me. There we go. So I'm going to cut this at an angle. Actually, yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know why it's feeling weird, but I'm going to trim at an angle a little more than 45 degrees. Then I'm going to fold and trim again, and I'm cutting from here to the score line and trimming and trimming and trimming. And then I'm going to take this and fold it down. And I'm going to trim that last piece just like that. And then I'm going to cut off this little piece right here because we don't need that. Okay, I'll angle cut here and here. This is our glue tab. And if we put just a slight angle on there, then we won't have anything sticking up. Okay, so we've got that. And because this is the top, we want to make sure if we have a pattern DSP that matters, that we make sure our pattern's top to bottom here. This one doesn't matter, but you might have one that does. So just so that you'll know, depending on what kind of, I've got a little glue booger there that, oh yeah, and then I laid it down right with the glue on there. Oops. Okay. And then we'll just start here, down here, because I did take those off in order. So hopefully my pattern will line up. But when I laid that down, I don't know how I laid it. So we'll see if it matches. Nope. What did I do here? Yep, there we go. I'll have to go this way. And then I'm probably going to need to turn them all. Or whatever. Yep. Okay. I can fix it. I just had to turn them upside down. It'll all work out. And this one, because it goes back to the same, let's see where we're at on this. Yeah, it's not going to matter. Let's just keep going like we were. Because my pattern wasn't continuous. I'm going to have just a little bit of an off grid there, but nobody's going to be noticing, I'm sure. At least the rest of them will match up. Get that. It's just going to be that one in the center. It isn't perfect, but it's handmade. And it's okay. Okay, there we go. So we've got that. I've got to get this glue off of here. That's going to cause me issues. I love this glass mat for this. You get a little bit of glue on there. You just wipe it off with a chamois and no issues. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this together. And I'm just going to take and push this down. We'll line this up like so. Make sure these corners match up and these sides match up. Give that a good burnish. And here is my box top now. So now I'm just going to set it here like this. I'm going to grab one of my large hexagons here. We're going to put a little bit of liquid glue on these tabs. Make sure they stick down in here some. Okay. All right, so we've got that. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay this down. And before I really press anything hard into place, I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to look at two of these sides here. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to go this side, and then I'm going to line up the opposite side. And because I used liquid glue, I've got a minute to do this. So if I line that up, one side and one side, then everything else will fall into place. Okay, and then I can just give that a good bone fold, a good burnish. Okay, and now the top of our box is ready to be decorated. Now let's make the bottom. So we're going to take our top and we're going to flip that over. We're going to get the bottom piece here. Give these a good burnish. We don't need to worry about putting designer series paper on these because they're going to be inside the box and no one's going to see them. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to cut on an angle. Whoop, not on this one yet. We're going to fold that over. I did do, yeah. Cut on the angle here. Fold it. Cut on the angle up to the score line there. Repeat. Repeat. And repeat. And then we're going to go down, fold this over to meet this straight edge here. Cut that at an angle. And then we're going to cut this at an angle this way and this way to make us a glue tab. Let's get rid of all these little pieces that we have hanging out here. Throw those in the trash can. Give this a glue on our tab. Again, I'm going to press that down. Line those corners up. Line the edge, the bottom corner. Give that a nice press. And then a good burnish. Okay, and then we're going to give these a nice push in. We're going to take this and put it inside our box top with the glue tabs up. Okay, set that right in there. Put some glue on the tabs. Hello, Cynthia. Oh, good. Tracy, I'm so glad your voice is better. I hope you're not coming down with anything seriously. Okay, so now I've got all my glue there. I'm going to take another one of the large hexagons. I'm going to set that down. Line that up as best I can. Remember, I've got a minute to move it, so I'm going to pick two sides. This one and the opposite side, and if they're all lined up, everything should be good. And then we'll just give this a good burnish with our fingers. Right here, I don't want to get too crazy. It is an empty box at the moment. Okay. So now we've got that. Remember, that's the bottom of our box. I'm going to give that a minute to dry. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of weight on there. I'm going to take one of my larger blocks and we're just going to set that on there. And then we're going to take one of those white hexagons. That's the next smaller size down. And we're going to take the Pick a Season stamp set and we're bringing in the tree, the trunk, the shamrocks, and the little grass that's from there. We're going to start with Shy Shamrock ink. And we're going to take that tree, the tree leaves, and ink that up. And I'm going to center this. This is the bottom of the tree. If you have trouble knowing where that's supposed to go, if you look at the stamp set and you put your image just like this, it's going to work out perfectly for your tree trunk. Okay, so let's take this. I'm going to put it at the very top and try and center it here a little bit. Okay, and we'll give that a second for the ink to adhere to the paper. All right. And then we're going to take our tree trunk and pecan pie, and we're going to ink that up. And it's not going to fit all the way on our hexagon, but we're going to put it right down here and get as much as we can, like so. Okay, we're done with pecan pie. And now we're going to go to shaded spruce, and I'm going to take my shamrocks and I'm going to fit these in, and you'll want to keep rotating this stamp. They don't all go in the same way. So kind of take a look at the opening and move your shamrocks around how you need to. Okay. All right, so we've got our shamrocks now. Now I'm going to take my tree, my grass. I'm going to take a little bit of soft sea foam. And I'm going to add some down here. And here. And that's just going to give me just a little bit of color. And then I'm going to go back with my shaded spruce. And I'm going to stamp it down, stamp it, and move it. I'm moving it as I go. So stamp, move, stamp. Okay, and then that just gives me a little bit of depth on my grass. All right, so we are done with that. Now, let's go ahead. Oh, you do need to stamp one extra set of shamrocks on a scrap piece of basic white, and then you'll have to fussy cut that out. I have already done that ahead of time. I have that right there. So now we should be able to take this, and there we go with our box. Everything's nicely glued, and this should just, if you get it in straight, it should just pop right in there. It's nice and tight, so it's not going to fall off. Okay, now let's find the seam, which is right here. I want this to be the bottom of my box. So I'm going to put that seam, and I'm going to line up the seam on the box bottom. I'm going to line those up and put those together. Okay, and then I know this, whoops, I didn't get it in there quite straight. You got to put it in straight. Okay, so now where did I get my box? Right here. This is my seam. So I want this to be the bottom. So I'm going to add this to the top of my box. And I'm going to use liquid glue so it'll slide. Okay, I want to be able to slide that into place. The thing with the basic white is you don't want to use a bunch of liquid glue, because if you do, when it dries, it will leave glue lines, and that's not pretty. So let's put this on here like so and try to line that up, center it nicely. I find it easier if I do this part first. Okay, I got that on how I want it. Now I've taken a piece of not Coastal Cabana, Summer Splash, and I cut another one of these small hexagons out, and this is what you get when you cut them. It cuts not only the hexagon, but it cuts a hexagon frame. Okay, so now I can add my frame to my box. Excuse me, just to give it just a little bit of extra dimension. And I'm just putting little dots of glue. And then we'll just center this around that hexagon. And with the liquid glue, I should be able to set that down and move it right into place. Okay. All right. Now we're almost finished here. We're going to take our little group of 3 shamrocks here. I'm going to put those on a glue dot. Okay, and then I'm going to put these down here like so. And now my ink has dried a bit, so I'm going to take some Wink of Stella. And I'm going to put Wink of Stella on the 4-leaf clover. There are 2 3-leaf clovers and 1 4-leaf clover in each grouping. And I decided that I would like to highlight the 4-leaf clover. So I'm just putting a little bit of Wink of Stella on there. I'm not going crazy because this will move the ink and I don't really want to do that. So I've got that. Now let me grab some twisted gold thread, which I'm sorry if you don't have it. At the moment, it's on back order, and it's on back order for quite some time here. But it's perfect for this. It's called Gold Twisted Thread. So if you don't already have it, be sure to put that on your wish list. And I'm going to take my bow jig because that's the way I make the best bows. And I'm going to pull that and I'm going to do a double bow, which means I'm going to wrap it twice. And then I'm going to take my end down and over the top, cross over, and tie that in a knot. Right there in the center. We'll get our ribbon scissors, give that a trim, find my little cut I put in here to hold that twine so it doesn't unravel. Okay, then we'll pull this off, take a glue dot, and let's see which is the side I want here. And then we'll grab those glue dots. I'll put a glue dot on there. And then I'm going to take my tweezers because the glue dot is wider than my ribbon or my bow. And I'm just going to squish that together with my tweezers to bring that down. And then we're going to add this right there on our tree. Separate those bows just a tiny little bit, those loops. Okay, this one's being stubborn. And then I'm going to trim that off so it's not too far below the bottom of the box there. And there we have our box for tonight. Okay, and of course, we're going to take those two little shaded spruce, and I'm going to put one. Oh, I did these. I don't need this one because I stamped a white one. So I took this. A good friend is like a 4-leaf clover, hard to find and lucky to have. This is from a retired set. I'm sorry, you can't get it. However, take a look through your stash and see what you have. Stampin' Up! Doesn't really have a lot for St. Patrick's Day. So I have to pull from my stash. And then I stamped that group of 3 from the Pick a Season in Shy Shamrock. And I'm just going to take this and add it to the bottom of my box. And that's going to do 2 things. It's going to give the recipient a little message, and it's going to cover up the seams here. So I want to make sure I've got the bottom seam for me. That's a thing for me. And then I'm just going to set this in here with my tweezers and try to center that up as best I can. Because I'm using liquid glue, I should be able to move that just a little bit. Give that a press. Then for the top of my box, I want to keep that looking nice. So I'm going to take one of those shaded spruce. This is the second to the smallest hexagon. And I'm going to add this to the inside of my box. And for this one, I don't really care what's the top and the bottom because it isn't going to matter. I can twist this however I want after I've got it in. Okay, so then I'll just put that in, and then we'll put this together. And of course I can fill this. This will fit a lot, actually. You can put all kinds of different kinds of candies, small gifts. I'll bet if you wanted to, you could roll up a pair of socks and put it in there. It would definitely hold some jewelry, chocolates, all kinds. Actually, what I had for this that I thought would be kind of cool was some of the Andes mints. I picked these up for St. Patty's Day because they have the green wrappers. And whoa, we can put quite a few of those in here. Look at that. We'll just put a whole row. And somebody will be a lucky little recipient of some wonderful Andes mints in a very cute packaging. All right, so now I know you're all asking because we did all kinds of these little hexagons, and we have all kinds of little frames left laying around. Okay? Oh, let me show you before I move forward with that. This is what the linked together looks like when you do it in reds. I think I did Pretty in Pink, Melon Mambo, and I can't remember. Bubble Bath, Melon Mambo, Pretty in Pink. I don't remember what I did for sure. No, because I used Real Red. So it was Pretty in Pink, and I used the Real Red twice so that I have 2 shades of the Real Red. That's what I did. Pretty in Pink and Real Red. Okay? On this one. And again, this just makes a really cute little box. This is using those Darling Dinos that we used last week. Okay? So we've got that. Now, as I started to say before I went off on a tangent again, because I wanted to remember to show you that different color combo, you have all of these rings left, all of these frames left, right? So what can you do with those? Do you want to just throw them away, or do you want to hang on to them for a long time? So I came up with this last night where I had an extra hexagon that I had used the black frame for to put around the edge. Okay, so I used the inside. did a little bit of embossing. This little cupcake is from Pocket Thoughts. So I did that in Highland Heather and Melon Mambo. And then I took 2 of my frames that I had hanging around, and all I did with these was I interconnected them. Okay, so you just pull this out like this, and then I took one of these and I took a flat side. So where there's a point and then a flat side. Okay, and then I just took and overlapped my points on all 4 sides, on all of those, right? So I just overlap them, which locks them all together. And then I can take and put this down, and I put it on a piece of 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch piece of white. I haven't finished my card yet, but this is what I plan to do. And I need to lock this my last one here. I didn't have that locked. So lock that in. Okay, we're not locking like we're supposed to. Okay, and then, hang on, get there. There we go. Now we're locked. Now we're locked like we're supposed to be. And then I'll just take and put this against that black, and then I'll put this on a card, and I've got a way to use all of those frames in a unique and interesting way. Okay? So I hope that gives you some ideas for those frames that you'll have left over from making the hexagon boxes. Because I know you're going to make those hexagon boxes. They're so easy and they're so cute. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know every time I go live. And I, just so you know, I will be live next Tuesday night on Facebook. Next Thursday night, I will maybe not be live because my husband has a dental appointment and I don't know if I'll be back in time. So you'll have to check and see if I'm on or not. All right. Okay. So Tuesday night, 7 o'clock on Facebook. And I will see you all soon. We'll have some more cool projects to do. Good night, everyone. Thanks so much.